Hi guys, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about The Roses of May. This book is the second book in the Collectors series. There are going to be 4 books in this series. The next book, The Summer Child, is due to come out in May 22nd, I believe. I'm super excited about that. I have loved this series from the very beginning. I picked up The Butterfly Garden, knowing a little bit about what it's about, because I've had a few conversations with the author, and she just said it was really dark and twisty, and so I picked it up not expecting to really like it, and I ended up loving it. What made this book for me was the ending, because the ending, you have to work for the ending, but it is phenomenal. I will say, just a disclaimer, that this series is not a series that is for everyone. It is a thriller, kind of murder mystery type of series. So not so much the murder mystery in this one. This is more about like figuring out what actually happened, because you already know who the killer was. There is a lot of just sexual violence against the women in this book. There's child abuse. So it's not one that everyone should read. If that's something that triggers you, I would stay away from this book. However, if it's something that doesn't bother you to read, I recommend it, because it was really, really good, and I really, really enjoyed it. And this is one of like 2 books that's almost had me crying. Like, there were tears in my eyes, and the only reason I wasn't crying is probably because I was in the middle of Starbucks. The Roses of May picks up a few months after The Butterfly Garden left off. However, that's not the main plot of this book. Vic, Edison, and Ramirez, the 3 FBI agents from the last book, actually are dealing with some of the fallout from the Butterfly Garden. I think it's been 3 months since the Butterfly Garden. I kind of didn't pay attention to that detail because I wanted to know who the killer was. Details don't matter when you just need to get to the end of the book. Anyways, so it follows Vic, Edison, and Ramirez as they're kind of dealing with the fallout from the last book. Edison is more the point man than he was. Vic was the point man in the last book. Vic was the point man in the last book. We got a lot of his point of view. This is a lot of Edison, and then it also follows the story of Priya and Deshani Sravasti. I apologize if I said that wrong. I couldn't find anywhere to figure out how to say their names. They're actually the sister and mother of a murder victim who was killed by a serial killer 5 years ago. Every spring between March and May, this killer kills another girl and decorates her body with flowers. They've been moving around since that happened, just kind of haven't been able to find a home. They settled down in this town called Huntington in Colorado, and then Priya starts getting flowers that match the flowers of the last 16 murder victims. This is a new development. It doesn't quite fit the killer's MO, so they're not sure. Is this a copycat? Is this the killer, and is he upping his game? This book follows as they try and figure out who the killer is in time to save Priya from being murdered. As a whole, I loved this book as much as I loved The Butterfly Garden. I feel like I enjoyed reading this book a lot more, and then the ending didn't quite have that, oh my gosh, I'm crying punch that The Butterfly Garden had. The Butterfly Garden was a lot of work to get through, and it was a lot of tough stuff to get through. So I feel like I enjoyed that less, but I loved it just as much because the ending brought everything up at the end, versus this, that the ending was a really good ending, fantastic ending. It didn't need to redeem the rest of the book. Although, I mean, the characters in both books are fantastic and take no crap from anyone, which I love. The plot of this book was fantastic. It was a lot twistier, because you're following this one in present time, and then the last book was all like, you had the present parts, and then you had flashbacks in the last book that kind of were a little bit out of order as the narrator kind of worked you through the story to kind of help you understand what happened and why it happened the way it happened. So this is just basically like straight through, and you get like explanations of what had happened. You get to see some of the relationship between Priya and her sister. You get to find out kind of how the death affected the family. I figured out who the killer was pretty early on, but I think that's mostly just because I know the author's writing style, and it's never gonna be like, it's not going to be what you think. If I hadn't been looking specifically for what I was looking for, I don't think I would have figured out who it was as early as I did. I just kind of had a brilliant moment. I love the characters in this book. I loved getting to kind of unpack Edison a little bit more because you get a little bit of his story in the last book, but not nearly as much. I really enjoyed Priya, and I enjoyed Dashani is a trip. She is like, she literally takes no one's crap. Like, this woman is bold. She knows what she wants. She knows how to get it. Like, she is the no-nonsense businesswoman, but she's also a really great mom, which you don't see as much. A lot of the time you'll have the parent that's the business person and they ignore their kid, but she's a pretty good mom for the most part. And in the way she is not a great mom, it's understandable and it is necessary for the plot. I really liked she ends up meeting this group of veterans that play chess. I liked that part. It was fun. I liked the interaction between them because it's a group of old guys who've been hanging out together for who knows how long, and so they just have this really nice like little mesh of how they work together. One of the things I love the most about this author is that she just writes so well. I love her pop culture references because she kind of gives them to you thoroughly through the eyes and words of the characters. This was back and forth between third person and first person, which you wouldn't think works, but it does really work for this series. Specifically because you have two different narrators. The FBI agents you have in the third person, and then the main protagonist, which is Priya, you have in the first person. She just writes so pretty. This is the third of her books that I've read officially, and she writes just gorgeous. The first one I read is called A Wounded Name, and it's a retelling of Hamlet. And I think I've mentioned this before, or maybe I will mention this on a subsequent video. I'm pretty sure I have a video where I talk about it. A Wounded Name is the only version of Hamlet that I actually enjoy, besides Lion King and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. So, and the whole reason that I enjoy it, because it's a messed up story, and she makes it even more messed up. I don't know how she does it. It's a talent she has. She just makes things messed up. She just makes it crazy. But the whole reason I enjoy her book is because she makes it so pretty. Like, it's this gorgeous language talking about this horrible, like, the murder of his father, and then it's from Ophelia's point of view. So all of, like, the craziness that happens is just in this gorgeous, like, language that would probably have had Shakespeare drooling, in all honesty, let's be honest. That's it for my review of The Roses of May. I did give this 5 out of 5 stars because I loved it, which has been the case with all of her books so far. That is it for The Roses of May, guys. I will see you guys next time when we talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!